Hello humans, and welcome back to Code with Connor. This is the Let's Learn Python course. We are on Unit 4, topic number 3. And we're going to keep going with string functions, but before we do that, let's go back and look at the challenge from the last lesson. So here we are in the challenge from the last lesson. In this one we were printing a word vertically. So you see I have a word printed vertically, entered Q to quit, took an input, and then I just did if the lowercase version of the word was Q, then break out. And then my for each loop, so my for character in the word, print the character. And remember, this type of print statement right here, this automatically jumps to a new line after it prints the character. So because it's printing one character at a time in the loop, it's going to end up printing the word vertically. So that was the challenge in the last lesson. Now let's jump in and talk a little bit more about string functions. We're going to talk about string functions. Now we're already using one string function, which we just used a second ago, which is the .lower function, where we take a string variable, and we do a dot notation. Dot notation says call a function on this data type. So this is a string data type, so it's going to call one of the string functions, and we'll look at a list in a second. So the one we want to call is the lower function, which is going to make it lowercase. And I'm just then taking the result of that and passing it to my print. So let's run that real quick so we can see what happens. So I enter a word, and it turns it into lowercase. If I run it again and I enter something in caps, you'll see that it returns it in lowercase. So coming back, this is not the only option that we have. In fact, there's a whole list of string functions or string methods that we can use. Let's have a quick look at the list and then go from there. So here I am on W3 Schools, and this is just a list of Python methods that are related to strings. So there's capitalize, which makes the first character uppercase. So you'll see a method and then you'll see a description. And then you'll see the ability to click on it and get more details. So let's take something like find, for example. Searches the string for a specified value and returns the position of where it was found. So we click on it, we get an example. So txt is hello, welcome to my world. And then x is txt dot, there's my string dot, find. And I'll find, what am I looking for? I'm looking for welcome. So it's going to try to find welcome in this, and then it's going to print out that variable. So something like this, welcome is here, so it's going to find the starting index of that word. It's going to find the starting index of W, and then it's going to return that to you. If the word appeared more than once, it would do the first instance. So you can see first occurrence, it returns -1 if it can't find it, so we can handle that in an if statement. So it's almost the same as the index method, except the index method gives an exception if it, and the find method returns -1. So you can see how to use a method by clicking on it. I'll put a link to W3 Schools in the description, so you've got it to go off of. So there's lots in here that are useful. There's all the is digit, is alphanumeric, is decimal, and those are helpful if you're just trying to check that somebody entered something the way that you wanted them to. There's things like replace, which returns a string where a specified value is replaced with another one. So replacing part of a string with another thing. You have an upper, which will convert it to uppercase. We have things like center, which is kind of neat, where we can pass it a parameter. So it'll center my word inside of a string that big. And there's also a 2-parameter version of this. And there's also a 2-parameter version of this. And there's also a 2-parameter version of this. Let's play with it a little bit. So let's do dot center 20 and dash. So this will center it in a string of dashes. So this will center it in a string of dashes. That's 20 dashes long. So we save it, come over here, and run it. You'll see it centers my string in the middle. Awesome. So you can go through and play with a bunch of these string methods on your own. Obviously, the more you know, the more flexible you can be with strings, which is great. I want to look briefly at the challenge for today, so let's run it and show you how it works. So enter a word or Q to quit. Superman. Your word is not a palindrome, so it's checking for a palindrome. Okay, so mom. Your word is a palindrome. Okay, race car. Your word is a palindrome. Okay, mom with a capital M. Still counts that, so it must be lowering the case on the word. Okay, race car. Yep, definitely lowering the case and working. Mother, not a palindrome. Q, and we quit, and we're out. So for the challenge, we are going to be building this simple palindrome checker, and you're allowed to use things like reversing. Have a look at reversing a string. Do a little Google on it. It's not on W3 Schools because it's not actually a string function. There's a neat notation that you can use in the index and the box notation for reversing a string. So give that a shot and see how it goes. and we'll see you back here for topic number 4. Thanks for sticking with me this far. Hopefully it's going well. We'll see you back here real soon. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Bye, humans. Have a good one.